Augusta. You're watching News 12 live at 5.
Well, he was trusted with saving lives, but now he faces child porn and drug charges. Just ahead, we're digging deeper into the history of a former Columbia County firefighter.
But first, there's chances for isolated showers across our area going into this evening. You see a bunch of green there. There's also a possibility we could see more rain throughout the rest of the week.
Riley, how much rain are we expecting this evening and throughout the week?
Well, guys, we are going to have the opportunity for some rain tonight, tomorrow, but not expecting necessarily a ton of widespread rainfall across the area. So we are going to have these hit or miss showers for this evening and tonight if you are heading out. Here's our setup at the moment. We have high pressure north of us. This is bringing us a good steady northeast wind, and that's where our cloud cover is coming into play. But we also have a stalled front over us, so this is helping lift up a few showers across the area. Most of that rain has stayed south of I-20, and that's where the rain chances definitely look highest over the next couple of hours. So from Waynesboro to Swainsboro, all the way over to Sandersville, and just a few very tiny showers popping up closer towards the I-20 corridor there in Warren and McDuffie County. Rain chances 20% or less for most of this evening into tonight. We'll just gradually see that opportunity for a few hit and miss showers out there as we continue over the next 24 hours. So yes, there is a chance for rain over the next couple of days, but it doesn't necessarily look like it'll be too impactful for us. A live look over the lake. We got nice conditions there. How about that? This actually a little bit of some sailing weather out of Clarks Hill. Temperatures at 83 degrees. We're going to stay with temps warm in the 70s and 60s through this evening. And once again, just keeping that opportunity for a few showers. Well, we'll look at the rest of the week for you in just a bit, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, a live look outside of our building, I-20 and Riverwatch Parkway. Riverwatch looking like it is starting to just get a little congested here, but not really looking at any major slowdowns. And I-20, smooth sailing there for eastbound, westbound lanes. Going out to Wheeler Road next, this is looking at I-20 here, westbound, looking good to go, and eastbound traffic doesn't look to be impacted too much, so good there on the west side of town. You can see cloudy skies overhead. We'll have a look at those rain chances for you coming up in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Riley. We're learning more this evening about a Columbia County firefighter recently arrested for child porn and drug charges.
38-year-old Matthew Brizendine was a 15-year employee of the county. The county fired him last Wednesday.
Our Hallie Turner is live in the newsroom for us. And Hallie, you've been digging deeper into Brizendine's personnel file. What have you learned?
Well, the file is 195 pages long, painting a picture of a top-tier employee they've relied on since hiring him in 2008. Until he was terminated and arrested on September 20th, documents reports show that Matthew Brizendine is someone who shows up to work early, ready to face whatever's coming his way. Supervisors say he was neat, clean, had a positive attitude, and more on nearly every evaluation. One stated he carried himself with pride and confidence that can't be taught. Another report says Brizendine even went as far as taking the time after calls to show the children fire trucks and in the neighborhood, and while answering their questions. He was always looking for any opportunity to move up in the rankings. And one note on an evaluation form says in 2016, he was constantly learning and working towards improvements. He's quick to ask questions when something is unclear and is eager to move up. And in May of 2021, he was promoted from engineer to lieutenant. But coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we'll dig deeper into one mark on his file that did stand out.
All right, thank you, Hallie, and we will continue digging into this case and report what we uncover.
In Columbia, a 14-year-old is now a suspect in a shooting that killed 3 teenagers. On Sunday, Richland County deputies say 2 16-year-olds and a 17-year-old were killed after a shooting inside a neighborhood. Yesterday, deputies identified 2 17-year-olds as suspects in the shooting, and now tonight they announced a 14-year-old's arrest. During a news conference, Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott said the shooting happened over a burglary that happened a few years ago.
Over something stupid, over something that happened a couple years ago. Just a beef that just continues to grow, and then young people decide that they're going to solve it by shooting.
We don't know yet whether the 14-year-old will be charged as an adult. The other 2 suspects, they are set for a bond hearing coming up in November.
The family of a man who died in the Fulton County Jail is speaking out about his death and releasing details from his autopsy today. Monte Stinson was found dead in his cell in late July with no obvious signs of injury. A coroner found Stinson died of cardiovascular disease. The report also lists minor blunt force trauma. Stinson's family claims the jail staff neglected him and ignored other inmates who they say knew something was wrong and were trying to get the staff's attention.
Their duty, sworn duty, is to not only maintain order, but to also care about the safety of every single inmate in there. They failed my brother.
The Fulton County Jail is currently under investigation by the Department of Justice. At least 10 other inmates have died inside the jail this year alone. Fulton County leaders are currently working to relocate hundreds of inmates to other jails in the southeast over staffing shortages.
A car explosion rocked one neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can see the car is fine. Yep, it was fine one moment, and then it just exploded. One woman was inside the car and gets out minutes before that vehicle is engulfed in flames. The fire spread to the home where it was parked. Authorities say the woman was taken to the hospital with serious burns. No word on her condition this evening or even what caused that explosion.
The federal government says South Carolina owes nearly $500 million to its only public four-year HBCU, South Carolina State University.
It says SC State, a land-grant university, is supposed to be getting funding that's equitable with South Carolina's original land-grant university, Clemson. But that hasn't happened. Our State House reporter Mary Green has more details from Orangeburg.
The U.S. Secretaries of Agriculture and Education recently sent letters to more than a dozen governors, predominantly in southern states, saying they're concerned about funding shortfalls over the last 3 decades at land-grant HBCUs, including here at SC State.
You think about the products of these institutions in spite of inadequate funding. It begs the question, what could these institutions do with resources, with adequate resources?
Representative Gilda Cobb-Hunter sits on the House's Budget Writing, Ways and Means Committee and its Higher Education Subcommittee, and her district includes SC State. She says she's not surprised and is glad the Biden administration is bringing attention to these disparities, but worries it'll fall on deaf ears in the Republican-dominated State House. In their letter to Governor Henry McMaster, the secretaries wrote this long-standing and ongoing underinvestment disadvantages SC State students, faculty, and community, and may contribute to a lack of economic activity that would ultimately benefit South Carolina. McMaster says he pushes for ample funds for state schools in his annual budget recommendations to the legislature. And he says the state tries to promote projects to boost schools' educational power as well, naming as an example SC State's work as part of a research group with other South Carolina and Georgia universities at the Savannah River National Lab.
Those kind of things bring millions of dollars in research power to these schools. We do those kind of things that are outside of the regular budgeting process.
And in a statement in response to this letter, SC State President Alexander Conyers acknowledges the progress the state has made toward upping the university's funding in recent years, but he says more work still needs to be done to ensure SC State remains competitive. Reporting in Orangeburg, I'm Mary Green.
Cobb-Hunter also noted many HBCUs are anticipating a potential rise in applications and enrollment following the U.S. Supreme Court's overturn of affirmative action this year. She says that makes this call for funding even more imperative.
The Charleston Fire Department is aiming to pilot an app to help firefighters with mental health issues. Firefighters have a heightened risk of developing PTSD, depression, anxiety, and alcohol use disorders because of the trauma they experience on the job. That's according to the National Institute of Health. Now, the purpose of this app, called Peer Connect, is to give firefighters the resources without them having to ask for help first. Now, it includes giving firefighters a way to communicate their struggles without feeling like they are weak or lesser.
What we found when we first started developing this is that people are hesitant to reach out. What we've kind of done in developing this with lots of first responder groups is we kind of flipped that model, where it's almost like a pager or like putting your hand up. So you're saying, hey, I could use a chat.
Tonight, the Charleston City Council is expected to approve the pilot program for Peer Connect. There will be no cost to the city because it's being covered by South Carolina Wellness Initiative.
The end could finally be in sight for the writers' strike, but how does this affect Georgia? Coming up, we'll take a closer look. Riley?
And we are keeping an eye on some showers on our First Alert Radar Network. We'll take a look at those rain chances for you and that 7-day forecast coming up just after the break.
Time and temp.
Joy to do that, and that it's accepted and welcomed here.
Our First Alert commitment to you is the power of 5 meteorologists, all the tools, the latest technology, and the first team of 5 meteorologists. News 12, NBC 26 First Alert Weather on your side.
All right, welcome back. A live look from our Thurman Dam Cam showing some darker skies over Clarks Hill, so we are keeping that opportunity for some rain if you're heading out this evening, even into portions of tonight and tomorrow. Temperatures are back in the 80s this afternoon, but starting to feel a little bit more humid out there, and with that higher humidity, that is giving way to a few showers on our First Alert Radar Network. Most of this rain is south of a stalled front that is just basically splitting the CS array in half, so south of that is where we're looking at the opportunity for showers to continue all the way through this evening, tonight, and most likely even keep that chance for a few pop-up showers throughout the day tomorrow. Here's a more zoomed-in view. You can see some new cells starting to pop up, so these are just kind of tiny and very sporadic. So if you are stepping out, just may want to have that umbrella close by. Not ruling out that we do see these showers continue through this evening, even through midnight tonight, potentially even the overnight hours. We'll have some of that rain on our radar, so a heads up for that. Wednesday, it's going to stay cloudy. Temperatures not quite as warm as what we've seen over the past couple of days, and overall throughout the day we're not expecting a ton of rainfall, but if you're driving around town, not ruling out you see a few raindrops at times during that commute, but temperature wise it will feel a little bit better for us on Wednesday. Rain chances do look to go down though once we get into Thursday, Friday, especially into the weekend outlook, so luckily if you have outdoor plans this weekend, not looking like we're going to see too much rain linger around those days. Here's a look at our hour by hour. So once again, just these showers continue to be a threat across the region this evening, tonight, and as we head throughout the day Wednesday, just cannot rule out some of these kind of lingering on and off all the way through tomorrow afternoon. That northeast wind will keep those cooler highs in place, anywhere from the upper 70s to near 80 here in Augusta tomorrow, and by Thursday a lot of that cloud cover does start to clear out, so that will allow us to get a little bit cooler Thursday morning, down near 60 degrees, and despite seeing a little bit more sunshine Thursday, our high temps don't really look to increase too much more, most likely staying with highs in the low 80s Thursday afternoon. Friday morning, waking up to nice conditions, mostly sunny, and temperatures holding seasonal, most likely in the low to mid 60s. So our mornings do look to stay away from the 50s. We did get some cooler mornings down to the 50s last week, but it looks like all the way through this weekend our morning temps should stay in the 60s for us. If you are heading up to Clarks Hill Lake, lake temps right now 79 degrees, and likely will continue to stay below that 80-degree point as we head throughout Wednesday and Thursday, with high temps up at the lake staying in the upper 70s the next couple of days. Generally cloudy tomorrow, just a low chance for a stray shower, and partly cloudy skies will return by Thursday, and that lake level still holding steady at around 325 feet, so 5 feet below that summer pool level. Here's a full look at our 7-day forecast. Remember, for tomorrow, just a chance for a few isolated showers. Doesn't look anything major for us. And then hanging on to partly cloudy skies to end off the week, and temperatures look to stay just a couple degrees below average the next several afternoons.
Thank you, Riley. Hollywood writers announcing a tentative deal with studios that could end a months-long strike. Now in Georgia, the film industry rakes in hundreds of millions of dollars for our state's economy.
In Savannah alone, the industry brought in $440 million. As Flynn Snyder shows us, industry experts say this deal is a tentative step in the right direction, but there is still a lot more work to do.
Terms of the tentative deal between the Writers Guild of America and Hollywood studios have not been released. The Savannah Film Alliance expects picket lines to end soon, but that doesn't mean the strike will be officially over. WGA members will eventually vote on whether to approve the deal. Since May, Hollywood writers have walked off the job over issues surrounding residual payments and artificial intelligence. Savannah Film Alliance founder Charles Bowen says the strike has brought the local film economy to a halt, impacting film sets and the businesses that support them.
We went from having at any one time 5 to 10 productions sometimes filming in Savannah to maybe 1, at the most 2, and sometimes none. So it has definitely had a tremendous impact, particularly when the actors and writers were both on strike.
Bowen says overall the entertainment industry has taken a hit from the strike, but he's optimistic that a projected rush to film when the strikes are over could mean an uptick in local production in 2024.
As for your favorite scripted TV shows and movies, experts say production on those, they will likely remain stopped while the Screen Actors strike continues. But the hope is the framework from this tentative writers' deal will help bring the actors' strike to an end.
Well, you might think oysters are harvested by just grabbing them straight out of the ocean, but harvesting one of the South's favorite seafood delights is way more complicated. Just ahead, we'll show you how.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Lexus Acura Cadillac. If you think you're
Accidents can happen at any time.
proud partner of the Atlanta Braves.
Well, the South and seafood go hand in hand. Shrimp, crabs, fish, oysters, clams, the list goes on here.
Now I'm hungry. Dylan Smith spent a day with a Georgia oyster farm to learn what goes into cultivating one of the seafood favorites.
Meet Captain Charlie Phillips, owner of Sepulveda Sea Farms, the oldest and largest clam and oyster farm in Georgia. Phillips took us out on his fan boat to show us his process.
We're aquaculture, so we are farmers. One of the differences between us and land-based is we use no pesticides, no herbicides, no any kind of chemicals. All the clams do is eat algae and clean the water.
Aside from growing in and underwater, another untraditional aspect of this industry is that with clams, there's no official season. You can harvest anytime as long as you can brave the elements. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, like most things sea-related, there's always a catch.
And our crops take a lot longer. You know, they're going to get a crop up in a few months. It's going, like I say, it's going to take me 2 years or more. So people say, boy, that's a long time to grow a clam. But I said, yeah, but it's quicker than pine trees.
It's not easy labor either. Harvesting and seeding starts each day out on the water, where workers trek through around 2 to 3 feet of mud to place and remove the product. From there, these are taken back to the dock to be cleaned, sorted, and quality control checked before they're packaged and shipped.
As far as clams go and oysters, we work 6 days a week pretty much. We're pulling clams Sunday through Friday. We've got trucks going out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
As you can see, it takes a village to make the whole process operate smoothly. Captain Phillips says everything he's accomplished in this industry has come through trial and error since day one.
So we planted them on 4 Mile on a sandbar, which was absolutely the worst place you'd ever want to grow stuff, and in a hard black plastic bag, which was not the optimum bag to grow stuff in. So the first thing we learned how to do was kill clams. We got really good at killing clams, and then we started doing everything else and figuring out how to make them grow.
While it's not a perfect process, Captain Phillips is always working with local universities and government officials to learn how this ecosystem is developing over time and to find more efficient methods of growing. But he wouldn't have it any other way.
It's a great office on a good day, and it's a terrible office on a bad day when it's raining and cold and the bugs are out. But no, it's just what we do.
And that is really cool. I didn't even know that that's how that works, or that you could even really farm oysters and clams like that.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
I mean, one of our questions was, how does he make sure that somebody doesn't go and just
steal his crops,
take his
essentially?
oysters? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question for us. And you brought up something earlier that I think needs to be addressed. And I don't think it's weird by any means, but I just think it's something unique, is that for Thanksgiving, you actually have oysters. That's one of your signature dishes that you guys have.
Yeah, it's one of our family traditions. I grew up in the Low Country, and we have oysters. It's not in place of turkey or anything like that. We have everything else, but it's one of our appetizers. My uncle steams them there, and we have a big table, and it's what we have right before the turkey and the fix-it. Oh, it's
That's
so
like
good.
your unique family dish that you guys have.
Well, I mean,
That's
think
cool.
about November. Like, November is a great oyster month.
That's where all the oyster roasts are too, so it makes sense. Understandable.
Now I'm craving oysters.
Me too.
Great.
I know where we're going after this. You can find us at any seafood restaurant here. It's probably not going to be anywhere near Charleston standards, but you know.
There's some good places here, though.
Some good places.
There are.
I agree.
Absolutely, and definitely getting us hungry over here talking about Thanksgiving dinners. All right, we got our latest winner for our Sunshade giveaway. Congratulations to Terry Sanders from Aiken, South Carolina. To get your own Plunkett Heating and Air Sunshade, just go to WRDW.com, click on contest, and you can enter your email. Well, I'm going to look at the forecast just after the break.
Visit Milton.
Welcome back, folks. Here's a live look from our Thurman Dam Cam. This is looking over Clarksville Lake, and how about that rain shaft? We are looking at a decent little downpour that just popped up over Clarksville Lake. So heads up, if you know any boaters out on the lake, they may want to seek safe harbor out there. 83 degrees out this afternoon, so still another relatively warm day, but not too far away from where we should be this time of year. The one thing you may have noticed if you've been outside today is that there's definitely more clouds than yesterday, and also it feels a little bit more humid, so that is giving way to these showers popping up today. Here's a look at it on our First Alert radar network. So actually some pretty heavy rain right over, looks like points west, kind of around maybe even Rocky Ford Golf Course there in Lincoln County, some heavy rain. And then as we go a little bit further south, you can see that rain coverage actually increasing. So across many of our southern counties, they got good steady rainfall out there this afternoon. And now we're starting to see these tiny little downpours pop up across the area. So any evening plans, I definitely keep the umbrella close by. We're going to keep the chance for rain tonight and also a few isolated showers throughout the day Wednesday. Drier, though, as we close out the week with comfortable temps heading into the weekend. Stick with us. Much more on Live at 5 just after the break.